Welcome back to PodRocket, a web development podcast brought to you by LogRocket. LogRocket provides AI-first session replay and analytics which surface the UX and technical issues impacting user experiences. Start understanding where your users are struggling by trying it for free at logrocket.com. I'm Noel, and we're back with our panel episode here. I'll be talking about how AI is reshaping developer tooling in the web ecosystem. We're going to touch on some acquisition news and what coding even looks like in the next 6 months, year, going forward from there.
Will we still be coding?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Someone will be coding.
Somebody. It may not be me.
Will it be us? With that, let's get into our panel. You just heard from Jack Harrington. Jack's the Blue Collar Coder on YouTube, also co-host of the Frontend Fire podcast. How's it going, Jack?
Awesome. Happy to be here.
We've also got Paige Niederinghaus, co-host of the Frontend Fire podcast as well.
Hey, I'm glad to be back.
Nice. And Paul Mikulski's PodRocket host, YouTuber, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. How's it going, Paul? Let's jump into recent news a little bit. The Tailwind stuff. So Tailwind's CEO shared that Tailwind had laid off 3 of its 4 engineers. Pretty big cut. The reasoning was that the documentation, which they use to kind of be the funnel into some of their paid products, is like just completely tanked because no one's going and looking at docs anymore. Yeah. And so now there's this kind of whole conversation going on around what business models are viable. Some of these things which made sense before may not, specifically around like documentation. And I think even more broadly around like where people would pay to have some nice out of the box like tool set and suite that's like a really good implementation. I'll buy this like UI package that makes it easier. And now if I can just prompt that away, it's like I'm probably not doing that as much anymore. So this was kind of all going on. Do you guys think this is like a Tailwind specific problem, or is there a domain where you think this is hitting particularly hard? Or is this something that's going to just happen across the board, like for dev tooling in general?
I like the phrase "prompt the pain away." I'm taking that. Thanks, Noel.
Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that it took this long for the open source software maintainers to start feeling the pain, or at least sharing the pain, because we've been hearing for a couple of years now since Google started doing their AI overviews when you search for anything, that all these sites that depended on traffic, like Stack Overflow and Wirecutter and all these other kind of recommendation or just blog type sites, have seen their traffic reduced dramatically. Like their monetization is way down, their page views are down, everything is down. So it almost is surprising now when I look back at it and think about it, that it took this long for people who run documentation sites or run things like Tailwind or other dev tools based sites, that they're just now starting to see or talk about the drop off. I don't think that this is a Tailwind specific thing. I think that this is a like ecosystem thing that we really need to be more aware of and think about, because open source software, if it can't survive in any monetized way, there's going to be none of it left. That's a problem. Companies like Claude and OpenAI and companies like that, they can buy these things up, but there's only so much money that they can spend on and support. And there's way more open source software than there are companies that can afford to bring them in-house or support the teams fully. So I think this is a problem that we need to start thinking about more seriously.
Yeah, I agree. The open source funding has been a problem for a long time. I'm a Tansec core contributor, and it's constantly top of mind. How do we get people who are contributing to Tansec paid? And it's tough because the current model that Tansec is on is basically out of the marketing budgets of all these companies, right? And essentially out of the goodness of those companies' hearts, right? And that's not a sustainable business model. And yet at the same time, like what we want like open source, absolutely neutral libraries. And so we have to figure out a way to make that economically viable. I mean, come on, these companies are multi-gazillion dollar companies. They can just bank, and they can't support the web stack that they're running on. What the heck? It's crazy.
Do you guys have faith that like other funnels can make up for ads on a docs page, or like a funnel pushing to a pro product? Because there is a variety of YouTube personalities out there that rake in a good amount of cash. You can put sponsors on your YouTube videos, and then you immediately have a funnel that's pretty fat. If we're talking about paying 3 people, right? Maybe it's just shifting. The bottleneck is shifting to a different spot in the pipeline. It's not going away. Doc sites just less popular. I'm not an open source maintainer.
Yeah.
I need to pay people, but I'm just like, there's got to be a way that's not like doomsday.
Or to get like, bunned, essentially, get acquired by
you get acquired.
Anthropic, or just now recently Astro getting acquired by Cloudflare. And both of those groups are basically saying, hey, we really wanted to concentrate on the tech. And so we got the payout, and now that we're now on them. But is that viable? Is that going to keep them? Is Bun just going to become basically the Anthropic engine, and we don't hear from it again? I certainly hope not, but I don't think there's any guarantee.
Yeah, short of acquisition, it seems like there's a lot less ways to keep yourself going as an open source product than there has been in the past. Because like you said, you're either trying to build a hosting site, or you're trying to add deep databases into your platform as part of your offering, or you have a paid version. But if everybody's using AI to implement your thing, and they don't need to be aware, or they're not even aware of those product offerings, then what do you do? And I don't know the answer to that. Like, maybe we have to revisit or more strongly push back on some sort of a monetary incentive or kickback to the original, where the original documentation came from that these AIs are leaning on. But I don't know how we enforce that, how we make that. The AIs referenced the Tailwind docs 17,000 times during this one session. So Tailwind gets how much money for that? I don't know how you'd measure that or give them some sort of compensation for the value that they've provided to the ecosystem
This is
and to the
Cloudflare's
models.
whole thing, right? They're trying to do this pay to read, pay to scrape model stuff. So there's just like maybe, but it's tough. Like everyone's that could work. But I think you mentioned something interesting there, Paige, and I think that there is a distinction between like knowing about the paid offering and needing it. And it seemed like a lot of the discourse here was around knowing that it was there, but I speculate that it's more of a need thing. It's just if people if you don't really need the templates and the config and the off the shelf thing, if your V1, if your agent just gives you one, you're like, it's good enough for my needs for right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the incentive to go change it later just seems so much lower.
Hey, I think I bought the Tailwind thing literally just to support Tailwind. Like, I think I maybe used the templates like once or twice, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Design templates. But it was primarily because like I just like Tailwind. And I think
it's probably a little bit of both. It's hard to know, right?
Unlike Paige. Paige is not like Tailwind. So
I'm not a Tailwind fan. I'm sorry. I don't like having my classes cluttered up with Tailwind names and weird stuff. I prefer straight CSS. But even then, Tailwind, I think, is in a very hard part of the market where there are so many good component libraries out there, and so many of them are free also, that it's just a really hard sell that I'm going to pay for your nice looking components as opposed to using somebody else, Shad CN, or somebody else's free nice looking components also. But maybe that's just me, and other people feel differently.
Definitely.
Shad CN is maintained by basically Vercel. Similar
now
situation.
It is, yeah. It got eaten up as well.
It did. I thought it just started there, actually. I thought the guy worked for Vercel. Yeah.
Yeah. It also feels like we're talking about a few different things all in the same basket. There's, do people know about it, like Noel said? And then there's the just raw traffic on a doc site, raw traffic on an on platform, on pipe. Those are like two separate things. I'm wondering, like, does one overshadow the other in importance typically? Like, it sounds like from what Noel said, it's, hey, this exists. You should know about it. I don't know if that's like the key problem here, but those are like two different things. And then there's do people actually want to know about it? Is it actually useful? Is it something that actually has value in the market? And that's like a third thing that just, there's some things that are getting squeezed out. They're not useful to that degree anymore. Tailwind might hit all three of these, it sounds. But I am curious, like from your guys' perspective, do you think it's more of a traffic to docs, traffic to funnel thing? Oh, we can fund the project versus we have another product and we want to tell people about it. And there is income that comes from this outreach. And that outreach funnel is now dead because that feels like it's fixable. You can like have agents read docs. They can read source code. My agent reads the source code all the time. It goes into node modules or whatever. Because of my Claude, I like it to tell it. so it doesn't get confused. But you can
Get
say,
in there,
hey,
the details.
yeah, get in there. If you read this, make sure you mention XYZ if you sniff ABC.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's ways to get it. So that's why I'm curious if one overshadows the other in importance.
Yeah, I don't think we know yet. I think it's going to depend on what it is. Like, I think that's the trick here. That was kind of why I think that this question is interesting. I don't really have numbers or anything in front of me, but it seems like at the other end of the spectrum, if you look at like a similar kind of open source business model where there's like a premium templates or support, it's not so much like we're giving you something you couldn't do on your own, but we're just helping you get there a lot more quickly. And it feels like it's like that is the interesting inflection there. Because does Red Hat have this problem? You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for corporate support for your Linux boxes or whatever distribution, is that impacted the same way? I maybe a little bit. I'm sure you can prompt through some of your problems there, but I'm skeptical that it's the same magnitude as something like nice front end templates.
Yeah, not to think about things. That's what they pay for.
I think the impact of AI at this point, though, I talked with Adam last year at ReactConf 2024 or 2 years ago. And he was like, oh my God, we are doing so great. We have so much money. I don't even know what to do with it all. It was hilarious talking to them. And then the literal next year, it was that much of a drop off. Whereas this is unsustainable. We're out. And it's, whoa, that's crazy. And I'm kind of like, maybe it's the Opus 4.5 effect or whatever, where it's, oh, okay, this is really taken off. It's really good. And it just got much wider adoption. But it was a dramatic decline. And companies have a hard time dealing with that. Within the space of a single year, you lose basically your primary revenue source. That's really hard to deal with.
Yeah. It might even be more of an impact for something like Tailwind that is a UI library, because what used to be very difficult, you needed to have a front-end developer who knew how to work with the library, who knew what they were doing just in general, building these types of sites. You don't need to have necessarily anymore. You can prompt it as a decent engineer and just say, I need it to do this. I need this to look nice. You might not even need to even say anything beyond that, and it can come up with a really nice layout just from all the ways that AIs have been trained and the improvements that they've had up till this point. So even if you don't necessarily have a design eye, if you're a dev and you can say, and you can point towards Tailwind and say, these are the components I want you to use, what used to require having a good sense of it or having a designer or using their pre-built components and templates and things like that, you don't necessarily even need anymore. And that's probably another thing that's contributing to them having a hard time staying monetized, is because the AI can do it and do a really decent job, like you said, without paying for anything besides tokens.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is, unfortunately. I don't have a solution.
Yeah,
I feel bad, but I don't know how we can fix it.
Yeah. It's a tough one for sure. Like, I think that there's alternate paths and things that for some of them that feel more viable. But yeah, front end tools like this, just like, it seems so tricky. I guess from that point, like we can broaden this a little bit. Ryan Dahl recently tweeted, "The era of humans writing code is over." We've been hearing this for the past year from various people involved in the AI business at various stages. Apple's kind of shifted its intent to power Apple Intelligence to Google Gemini. I think they'd originally said it was going to be OpenAI or something. And it just raises this bigger question. If AI is doing all of this initial groundwork for everyone, like, what part of the ecosystem do devs continue to work on? You guys think that there's a piece here that is the part that is still where the agents need direction?
No, that's exactly it. The agents need direction, right? They're not going to just go and, hey, I need a product. I got to make some money. But the agent go off and create a granola engine or whatever. I don't know however you're going to make money. That's what the senior engineering or the engineering job now is, basically pointing agents and granularizing the task to where you understand what the agent is doing and what it's outputting, and you can test it and that kind of stuff. So that it's just changing kind of the nature of what we do. And people have likened it to the whole compiler thing. I'm not sure I like that too much, where it's a switch from like assembler to C++. I don't know if I'm there because at the end of the day, it's much higher leverage code. But yeah, we obviously you still need engineers. The question is, what worries me is that I don't know if you need as many junior engineers.
Mhm.
And eventually the senior engineers are going to be like, I'm good. I got my money. I'm out of here. Who's
Yeah.
going to take up the reins then?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. The way that Ryan phrased it made a lot of sense. And I think it was the caveat that a lot of people were looking for when we've had other people say AI is going to take our jobs as engineers, which was it is going to do the grunt work of writing the correct syntax and writing the actual code. But we as software engineers still need to be there to check its architecture, to catch the edge cases, to make sure that what it's writing is efficient and repeatable and architected for scale and security and things like that. So we're kind of doing a lot more of the oversight of what the product or I guess the project is doing instead of the actual implementation of these divs or this programming language or something like that. And I think that's what was missing was that little bit of nuance because everybody who's worked with AI as a developer at this point has experienced when it just hallucinates things or it makes up a function that you already know exists in the code base because it's not aware of it. And you're like, no, you don't need to rewrite that. Go use the one that already exists. It's over
Right.
here.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. But at the same time, the past probably 4 to 6 months, as I've been working really regularly with Claude Code in my own day to day, like I am not writing code any longer. I am watching Claude write it. I am checking the code base. I am trying the app out and making sure that it works the way that it's supposed to. But Claude is the one who is writing the actual syntax and adding the new functions and things like that. I'm just watching it every step of the way to make sure it stays on track and on target. I don't think that he's wrong, as much as some people might want it to go back to more of a craftsman style of artisans writing code by hand. I just don't think I don't think we're ever going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle in that regard.
I'm not sure I want to be honest. Like I'm so much more productive with AI. In fact, I've been, just had a side channel with Tanner Lindsley talking about how much you just think it. It's like, oh, he recently wanted to put Tanstack.com Builder up, which is this like, you can create a Tanstack site or an app on this, in this Builder app and just kind of click on it and do all that. And so it was sitting on top of the stuff that I had written by hand early last year. And he just took it to the next level so easily with AI. It was like adding features left and right. And I was like, whoa. And I'm experiencing the same thing, which is like you think it and you can have it as long as you can express it well.
At what point do we feel comfortable getting on a train or into a car or whatever? I was having another interesting discussion. We were talking about like errors and hallucination rates and all this stuff before. It's like, at what point do we feel comfortable getting on a train or into a car or whatever? That's like,
right.
Someone's written the software that's on the boards that's controlling these things. That was literally like in hardware before. But now there's like some abstraction. Someone's prompted it and done the thing. Like maybe we get there at some point, but I'm not there right now.
Yeah, I'm not getting on the plane where the flight control system is vibe coded.
Vibe-coded.
That's not happening. Right. Yeah.
We brought up this thing that had always been the argument against like self-driving cars forever. It's like, well, humans make mistakes too, but we just expect it to be the norm when a human does it. So it's maybe we get there eventually. Like with vibe coding, where it's good enough most of the time that we just say it's fine. But I had to bring up the point. It's like, yeah, but there are lots of places where the code base always like there's proofs. Like it's solid. There's no.
Well, it's deterministic, right?
There's no way it can go wrong. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you put in X, you always get out Y. Whereas with an AI, it's like you put in X, kind of get a little something like this one time, something like that the other time.
So the shape kind of keeps changing. It'll be interesting to see. I think like my outlook in these like different modes keeps waxing and waning as to like where we'll end up. Like I'm always, I think Opus 4.5 is really good. And just like I have some stupid thing where I'm like, hey, tell me if there are any breaking changes between these two versions of the API. And it's like, no. And then I go look and it's like, yeah, there are. Like, okay.
I didn't break those unit tests that are now failing, that weren't failing before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
That's
sure
what
you
keeps you up
did.
at night,
Mhm.
right? Is
Mhm.
that I don't know because I don't have full control over the code really. Come on
Mhm.
anymore.
But when that happens, like my takeaway, I'm trying to reframe it as that's my skill issue where like I didn't set it up correctly, that I allowed it for that to happen. It's not like Claude, it's me. Like, yeah. So it's like maybe I should throw a hook in there or a script or like the Claude Code hooks, great validation tool. And you can run some crazy stuff. Like there's this one set of hooks I have where Claude runs a subagent. And when the subagent completes, it runs Codex because Codex is a bit more fine grained, but it's not good at planning. Then Codex reviews it, then hands it back to the main agent, and then it hands it back to the subagent to complete. So this sort of like, I never had the issue ever again. So every time this happens, I'm just like, it's not Claude, it's me. I need to learn how to use this better, and it'll be better next time. It just compounds over time.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like you can build these pipelines. But I think this then brings us back to like what does tooling look like? Like back to the original question. Because then it feels like dev tooling is making that thing you just described
Totally,
easier.
right?
How do I make it so I can tell agents what to do and figure out how I can make them catch their own mistakes and stuff more easily? Because now it's clunky. It's still not super elegant.
Yeah,
to do
totally.
So.
I don't even think we know what the problems are. We're still coming up with the solutions. Like we just like Wiggum loops have started becoming a thing. And yeah, because people ran into an issue where the LLM just stops. Like just halfway through, you're like, okay, I'm just done for the moment. You're like, no, you need to finish this. Oh, okay. Now he's got this thing, this Wiggum loop. Basically, just kick it in the butt until it gets it done.
Yeah. But it does lead to this interesting question then, or like, what do the frameworks of the future look like? Do we stop worrying about like frameworks as this abstraction that like how we think of them right now, front end frameworks or like your web server frameworks or even just like
even coding, like coding languages. It's like if we're using agents to do it, do I really care what coding language it's written in? No, whatever's the most efficient or is going to solve my problem the best. If I don't need to know the syntax.
Kind of disagree with that because it's like at the end of the day, there's a really good line in the Pragmatic Programmer or just idea that like never ship code you don't understand, right? I mean, if you get Paige at 2:00 in the morning and you're just, what is this code? Why? You know, trying to figure out why this code's blowing up. Like you don't want it written in COBOL
Zig.
62 or whatever it is, Zig. Yeah.
I do think frameworks have immense value though, because they sell guarantees to us. It's in the compiled vibe. This is a compiled piece of human thought. We're guaranteed that it does X, Y, Z in these ways. So those have value. I have trouble foreseeing how those don't have value just because it opens up more fray on the end of the development planning. In response to like, what is development, like that skill, Noel, that you're getting at? What do those frameworks looks like? We had one come out at the end of December that I've been finding really interesting, which is Gastown. And I forget. Yeah, Gastown. It's the guy who made the Beads orchestration, the Beads project. Forget his name. I should know his name. He's a pretty famous dev. But you define the tasks. It sets agents off. They have review loops. They have a mission control. Like it looks clunky. I agree with you, Noel. I haven't used it to do any serious work, but it's that first flavor of here's a highly opinionated way that you're going to have a team of like 20 people. And it's done by somebody who has been at Amazon. They've been at Facebook. They've done the rounds. They've managed teams. So it's like they're really serious about this. It's not like some YouTuber who threw together some like agent network thing that has wasted my weekend away once again. So these things are starting to get a little more formalized. And it's interesting to see how people are approaching them. Gastown. Who knows where it'll be in a couple months, but it's definitely gaining some gas.
Okay, wait a second. So I'm looking at, there's a Medium article, Welcome to Gastown.
Mm-hmm.
And is this the one?
That's
what
the
the heck
one.
is Gastown? It helps you with the tedium of running lots of Claude code instances. Stuff gets lost. It's hard to track what you're doing. Gastown helps you with all that yak shaving and lets you focus on what your Claude codes are doing. Yeah,
and I'm still
man, that
like
yak shaving.
Claude
I was getting
codes.
bummed by all that yak shaving, I gotta say.
Like 4 is my limit. Like I am Gastown at 4. But after that, I'm like I
2.
need something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a control freak, but I still like 1. I'm just going to watch Claude as Claude does it because so often and so quickly it gets off topic or strays from what it was originally supposed to be doing. So I don't feel like I can leave it alone at all. But maybe that's just me not relinquishing control.
Yeah, go strangle it, Paige, and tell it you're bad, Claude.
No, I don't like punishing Claude. That's the other thing. It's like I don't try and threaten Claude like some people have talked about. They get better results with that. I just tell it it's wrong and then redirect it.
Well, apparently then you're at stage 5, according to this Medium article, in your journey, where stage 5 is you use a CLI, I guess.
Yes.
A single agent, YOLO, and then diff scroll by it, which you may or may not look at. Stage 6 is progressing onto CLI multi-agent YOLO, and you regularly use 3 to 5 parallels. And then stage 7 is 10 plus agents, and stage 8 is building your own orchestrator. Okay.
The article reads like a meme. It's hard to tell
That's
where the membrane is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've achieved mastery when you're at stage 7 or 8.
I don't understand why like the CLI thing is inherently better. I jump back and forth between Claude and CLI versus in the IDE.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly where I am with my monthly quote. If it's like, because I mean, I like it in the IDE. I like to see the diffs in the IDE. I like the experience better in the IDE. I don't understand why the pixels being reordered in a certain way is like just inherently better if it's in the CLI. Okay, but I guess that means I'm stuck in stage 4.
It's been a few months since I tried the Claude IDE in VS Code, and maybe it's improved since then. But originally, and I think it was pretty early days when it had come out, that it just didn't feel like it was as accurate or that the code suggestions it had were as good. And it also crashed my IDE sometimes. So that's kind of why I reverted back to the CLI. And I've just gotten so used to the workflow where the CLI is open in a terminal and I've got VS Code open. So I'm watching the changes as they're getting added. And then I'm just running it locally so that I can check and actually see if it's doing what it's supposed to do. But I've just gotten used to it. So it's almost like it might not necessarily be better at this point or worse. It's just the flow that I've gotten comfortable with. So I'm happy with how it works.
Yeah, I'm doing Cursor. And just recently, I guess probably a month ago, they added like a really good browser mode. So nowadays, I can just say, hey, go fix this, run it until the page works. I'm going to go get a coffee. And I go off, I get a coffee, I look at my 3D printer or whatever, yada, 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 come back, it's done. And it actually, you will have seen it automate the whole thing, click around the whole deal. And then I used to talk to these CLI folks and they're like, oh man, I got my MCP playwright stuff going. I'm like, that was just an integrated feature, man. I just got that. Is there something special about it?
Claude caught up a little bit. They got Claude in Chrome now, which is a plugin. So you just install the plugin and then it works. So Jack, great point. I think they heard that point and they're trying to catch up with it, but it's still not at the Cursor level. The Cursor browser experience is just unrivaled. Can't beat it right now. Also, have you guys checked out Happy Coder? That's another tool I definitely have enjoyed telling people about. It's a wraparound Claude code, so you just write happy instead of Claude.
Okay.
And it opens up a tunnel and you can, and it's on your phone. Yeah. So I'm in the Steam room, the YMCA, and it has a voice assistant powered through 11 labs. So you can just say, hey, give me a rundown. It'll talk to you, wait for you to respond. No buttons, no pressing, because you can't press buttons in a Steam room. It's
okay. Yeah, this is dope. Okay. I have this fantasy of the movie theater experience where I'm just at the movie theater, I'm watching some movie and I have a brainstorm and then I'm like, I'm all just going to step out for a second. Go over and kind of walkie-talkie to my Claude instance and be like, hey, can you go do this? And by the time I get home, it's done.
Happy Coder is that. Or at least the way they're building it right now. I have a home directory that I use with Claude Cowork that connects to my Gmail, to my granola recording. So I can also be on a walk and just say, hey, what's this dev and that dev doing? What happened in stand-up this morning? Create some Todoist items. And it's in this central kernel of a repo that has a bunch of servers. And I can just talk to it as I'm walking and getting coffee or whatever.
Oh, God, you've got an amazing setup.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Okay, cool. I did mention in our intro that we would discuss acquisition stuff briefly. We've got to at least touch on Astro Cloudflare. Basically, Astro announces joining Cloudflare, will remain open source. The typical spiel here. Cloudflare said the justification is that they get a lot of use from it, et cetera, et cetera. There's a new version of Astro. I don't use Astro day to day. I think it's 6. something like
Yeah,
that.
6 now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And-
Live collections, I think, is the big.
Yeah. I mean, and Astro does feel like very in line with the Cloudflare worker runtime edge thing. Is their whole kind of moat and shtick. Do you guys think that this is like a play that makes sense? Is this all happy vibes all around?
I think this is a play that makes sense for cloud. It makes sense for both, to be honest. Like Fred wants to do work, and Fred's the guy behind Astro. Yeah, they want to just do technical work. They're geeks at heart. And this is whenever they try to get into the business world to make the thing go, it was a lot more, basically more hassle than it was worth. And so that this works out for them. They let Cloudflare handle that part. And I'm sure they got a nice payout. On the Cloudflare side, I think this is more than just we love these guys. It plays into a full like virtuous cycle strategy for them, where they can go and have essentially like a Next.js / Vercel style offering, where it's just all sort of one ecosystem. And they also actually picked up an AI content play at the same time as this. Which, if you think about that, now you're starting to think about a full on AI content deploy, AI content deploy kind of deal.
Yeah.
I think,
good.
Echoing what Jack said, I think that this is really good for Cloudflare and for Astro. Astro, we use it for our own front-end Fire website because it's great for static sites where you don't need a whole lot of functionality. You just need a nice-looking, easy to set up, fast website. And that is still a lot of the internet, to be completely honest. And Astro is easy to learn. It's easy to get going with. It's very easy to use. So I think that this is a great thing if Cloudflare can say, hey, you could try this framework that we support. It's open source. It's not going to go away because we're supporting it. So you don't need to worry about it just disappearing or having funding issues in the future. It plays well with our network or it plays well with other ones. It's easy to take wherever and host. And yeah, it seems to be right now the only kind of guarantee you can get as an open source creator of software to be around in a few years' time with all the changes that we've just been talking about. Bun got acquired by Anthropic. Cloudflare has acquired Astro. Vercel has bought Next.js and a bunch of other stuff that I can't even keep track of all the stuff they've acquired. But it also is a better guarantee that they'll be around in a few years' time and that they're a good bet. Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that this seems to really be one of the only ways to guarantee your success for a while. But at the same time, it's great for the people who can stick it out and get to that point of being really beloved or or very central to some bigger product that does generate revenue and then just get bought up by them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I love how Astro is. It's really great in that it does this awesome scaling curve where you could start off with something. You can start off with HTML pages. You can start off with Markdown, like however you want to play at the low end content level, and then. Oh, cool. All right. We want to start building out our app. You can literally just start, I could bring in Svelte. I could bring in React. I could bring in Preact. I could bring in Tansec Start. Like it's got a great beginning curve there. Whereas I think like Next.js, it tends to not be as good for those kind of low end content sites, but be more amenable to the kind of complex apps up at the top end. So yeah, it's an interesting positioned framework, but it is unique in that space.
Yeah, I agree. It did feel like this one had a little bit less. There was a little bit less of that inherent Vercel conflict of interest animosity here that I think we see a lot of the time with, I guess, as we've seen with some of these acquisitions. It seemed like the environment, the community was a little bit more kind of this makes sense. Like no one was pushing back quite as hard.
I think the community likes Cloudflare more than they like Vercel.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. Cloudflare has done a better job of positioning itself as a good steward of the web and an open steward of the web than other companies.
Yeah.
I'll entertain the age-old Reddit meme I've seen time to time of everybody likes Cloudflare because the NSA made it so.
Okay.
Yeah.
The big vacuum. Cool. I guess on that, we can take a quick break and go to hot takes. We'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by LogRocket. LogRocket provides AI-first session replay and analytics, which surface the UX and technical issues impacting user experiences. Start understanding where your users are struggling by trying it free at logrocket.com. Okay, you guys have had a minute. Does everyone have their hot take? I'm just going to go around the circle. I've got here, Jack, what's your hot take?
I'm going to go non-technical, as is my want here. I'm going to say Borderlands is a good movie. That's my hot take.
I like it.
It's a fun movie. What do you want? Do you want to be entertained? Be entertained.
That's funny. Noel, Paige, what's your hot take?
My hot take is that light mode is going to make a comeback this year. I think that there are so many SaaS companies and AI companies right now who have dark mode websites that all look the same, that I think light mode is going to help you stand out in a way that it hasn't in the near recent past. So let's see if that happens.
I've been on this team forever. I think part of it was like, I like to be my millennial special snowflake, and everyone was like doing dark. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna have my weird custom off beiges, funky color scheme. And I still maintain it's better for our eyes. Everybody thinks it's not, but if you're in a consistently lit environment, you want like a not pure full white, but like a kind of off white, a little bit darkened with a dark gray black text. That's avoids.
Now, are we supposed to just give you both?
I know.
Just toggle whatever
That's
way
true.
you like it.
There is accessibility stuff.
As a content creator, I can tell you, please make a dark mode, because oh my God, like I'll show documentation site and it's only in light mode. People will go, oh my eyes.
The flashbang is real.
Definitely some of my favorite websites I've used recently, Paige, have been in light mode. I've just been like, it's so tasty. It's a very tasty website. I don't know why, but it's delicious.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
My hot take would be, I think it's very similar to something I said earlier, which is I've worked with a bunch of small teams in the past few months, finding my way in the world and being non-full-time W-2'd and just doing this and doing that, working with this team, getting a little product out here or there. And it's just like, a lot of times people want to set up Claude Code and then they get to this frustration wall pretty quickly. And it's like, oh, okay, we're only going to let it do these things. And like my hot take is you probably have, and it's not like against you as an individual. It's just I challenge to rethink of it as like a skill issue. How I'm like, oh, it's me. I think 9 times out of 10, it's always that. It's never that Claude can't do it or do it correctly. And people just, I don't know. It's always like pushing a rock up a hill sort of feeling where it's just, no, it really is you know that song from Red and Link, the breakup song, it's not you, it's me. It's you. Okay, that's the end of my hot take.
No, I completely agree. Like I've been doing more with Claude than just coding, and it's been amazing. Like I had a project that involved soldering just recently, and I hate soldering. It's like this, oh God, I hate soldering so bad. And I was like, you know what? It's a skills issue. I'm just going to have Claude walk me through soldering like I was a 5-year-old with a hot iron. And I now know how to solder. Because like, it took 30, 45 minutes of just practicing and now it's done. I know Kung Fu. And it's like, my world just opens up. Just hit up Claude, man. Sum total of your knowledge. It's like right at your fingertips. Go.
No, yeah. Any project, there's that like, how much prep do I want to do here? And I think we tend to fall too far on the side of I don't want to have to do that much prep, because that's how engineering has always been. Just jump in. But now I feel like we're in a weird world where it's like painting a room or something, where it's like if you spend 3/4 of the time doing the prep work, you'll get done faster because it'll go so smoothly once you're configured and set up correctly. Yeah.
That is, making plans with Claude before executing has been like a game changer in terms of the end product for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Have it go through and ask you questions. In fact, actually, there was a one called Nextflow, which is an addition to Claude, like a set of Claude extensions. And one is maximal introspection or like interview or something like that, where it like really interviews the heck out of you when it comes to what do you want?
Tuning the interactivity there is like is a challenging problem. And I think, again, like back to our prior point, that will be, I think, and it's already happening, like as right now, it's mainly happening in the editors and stuff. Like, oh, we'll add another tool and it makes it a little bit better. But I think we'll see more and more. Sorry, I shouldn't. The term tool is overloaded. They're adding like a new way to interact with the agents that like makes it marginally better. But I think we'll continue to see that. It still feels to me like there's not a lot of kind of external activity going on for this kind of like tooling in this space. So it'll be interesting to see. Anyway. We're up on time. I don't have a super interesting hot take anyway, so we'll leave that for next month. But thank you for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one, guys.
See you next time.
Take it easy.
See you next time.